Welcome to the Kyero.com Spanish Property Podcast, where we interview people who recently purchased a home in Spain. They tell us what worked, what didn't, and what they'd do differently next time. I'm Beth Davison, and today I'm speaking with Carole, originally from Jordanstown, Northern Ireland. She purchased her new home in the Roda Golf Resort, Murcia. As a school teacher, Carole visits during school holidays, and for her, it's all about the tapas. She worked with estate agent GR Sunshine Properties to find her dream home in Spain. Check out the show notes at kyero.com/podcast to find links and resources mentioned in this episode.
My name's Carole. I am a teacher in the grammar school in Jordanstown, Northern Ireland. And really, my plan for quite a long time has been to buy in Spain. In fact, I've always known that I would probably retire here. Why I decided at this point, probably, I just decided the time was right. And I thought, just go for it, do it now. And that I decided last July that that's exactly what I was going to do. And here I am.
So when you made the definitive decision last July, what was your first step?
My first step was actually sitting on a balcony in Villamartin, and it was Googling. And it was Googling property in Spain. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know any of the companies, and I just literally Googled property in Spain, and from there started to narrow down the search. I knew the area that I was looking to buy in, and I wasn't particularly in that area at that moment in time, but through a process of elimination and looking at various areas, I then narrowed the search down. I knew all along, really, Los Alcázares was where I wanted to be, but was open-minded at that point. So I started to Google, and literally from there, it took off until I got here. My plan was always to come back at the end of October, November time, Halloween, half-term, and that's what I did. So I knew I had a window for searching and making contact, and that's what happened.
And so when you were coming back just a few months later, was that to do viewings? Yes. Had you already got to that point, or was that initially just talking to agents?
I knew at that point that I would come back to do viewings. So I knew that I would have a 2-3 month window to make appointments with agents and to do viewings. I knew I had a 5-day trip and was going to make the most of it at that point.
Fantastic. And how did Kyero play a part in all of this?
Well, Kyero were obviously one of the sites that came up initially. And from there, I had never heard of Kyero. And from there, I started to look at properties and just literally clicked on what I thought would meet my criteria. And from there, then was approached by various agents. So, yeah.
It's quite a daunting process. This is a big thing to kind of take on. Did you find it difficult, easy, harder than you imagined, easier than you imagined?
I find it easier. The whole process was easier than I imagined. Initially, I was nervous, and I just thought, do your research. So that's what I had done, how to buy abroad. I'd done a lot of reading. I'd looked at a place in the sun and looked for advice. And I have to honestly say that the whole process was a breeze compared to what I thought it would be.
And when you were clicking away and when you first kind of got in touch with Kyero and were asking all of those questions, did you know your budget? Did you know how many bedrooms? What kind of thoughts did you already have?
I had my budget. I had a budget at that point of 90,000, 90 to 100,000. I knew what I wanted. I knew that I wanted a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, communal pool, and at that point a roof terrace was that was my criteria. And as a result of making that my criteria, the properties that I viewed through GR Sunshine Properties, that's exactly what I did get. Now that's not what I ended up buying, but I really didn't know. I didn't know at that point that I was going to find basically the house of my dreams.
Fantastic. Well, let's talk about your dream home then, the one that eventually took your fancy. So what changed? What did you buy first of all? Let's talk about what you actually got.
I bought a 2-bedroom, 2-bath townhouse in Roda Golf Resort. And I wasn't looking for a house. At that point, I knew my budget, but as soon as I walked into it, but that was as a result of fine-tuning what my needs were as a result of going out with the agent. It was David. And as a result of going out with him for a day, viewing different properties, I then realised that, well, I'd narrowed down my search, knew that Roda was really where I wanted to be. And the house that I'm in now, it met every dream that I had, but I didn't realise that I could actually do it at that point with the budget that I had. And it just happened to be there. And as soon as I walked in, I realised this is what I want.
Such a good feeling when you know, isn't it?
So as soon as I walked in.
Trust in the agent, I suppose, is super important.
Absolutely.
Then.
I was contacted by the agent beforehand. I was met at the hotel that we'd arranged to meet at. I was instantly handed a business card and instantly felt at ease. And honesty played a big part. I felt that there was a lot of honesty exchanging. I was upfront and honest by saying, no, don't like it, move on, not interested. Yes, it meets the criteria, but not interested. So I wasn't actually saying, yes, this is really lovely, and then walking out the door going, well, actually, no, it isn't. I was just upfront and honest, and so was the agent.
Yeah, which sounds like the best way to be. So which parts did you find the most challenging? It sounds like it's been a great kind of experience for you, but were there parts that you found difficult?
Do you know something? I think the most challenging was actually probably going back to Northern Ireland and thinking, what have I done initially? But prior to going back to Northern Ireland, everything had been set in place. And the most challenging for me was literally realising that it had all happened, and it had all happened so easily. And that wasn't really a challenge. It was a pleasant surprise.
But then you have the moment of change, don't you? I mean, this is a big change. This is a big investment. So that moment of fear, I'm sure, is completely true of any buyer, especially abroad.
Absolutely. And at that point, I thought, well, how does it all come to fruition at the end of the day when it all comes to completion? How do I get my keys? How do I do X, Y, and Z to have this home mine? But again, as soon as there was a lot of contact in between the agreed sale and then the setting up of bank account, the setting up, being introduced to the solicitor, being introduced to the notary, that was all arranged for me. And then as a result, my biggest challenge was, well, how do I actually get this house? But again, that was all taken in hand, and I didn't have to worry about any of it. It was all done. It was all
fantastic.
It was all pre-planned and pre-organised, and I was kept informed every inch of the way. So I really didn't have anything to worry about.
Fantastic.
All those worries and fears actually were alleviated before I actually had to get to panic mode. So it was fine. It was all good.
So were you buying by yourself? Were you or were you part of the partnership?
I was buying by myself. Yeah, which was even more scary.
I was going to say, it's rare of the people that I've chatted to, and it kind of puts different fears. Was there any point where you felt by yourself, or were you kind of helped along?
At the beginning, I felt that I could be vulnerable. But after that trip where the house was found, the sale was agreed, and everything was put in place, and the fact that I was kept informed every inch of the way, I didn't feel vulnerable. I didn't. And many people would, and I did initially, but no, I have to be honest, and thought, no, this is really easy. Obviously, there's always going to be that little inkling of doubt at the back of your mind that goes, is this real? But it did work out, and I have to say it was really smooth sailing.
That's so fantastic to hear. And what did your friends and family think? They thought, this is a brave move.
They actually thought, whoa, you are completely nuts. And I thought, well, this is a leap that I have wanted to take, and I've taken it, and I have no regrets. So they did think, wow, well done you. They also thought, well, I'm going to say it, they thought you have balls of steel. But then afterwards, they just went, whoa. And when they've seen photographs of the house, and some of them have been here, they just go, whoa. It was that simple.
I bet they're jealous.
They are.
I bet you've inspired some
people.
They
are. Yeah, they are. Very much so.
And so let's talk about life now, because when did you complete?
Completion was the end of November. So I came back. So obviously I was told completion had gone through. everything was done for me. Power of attorney had been put in place. And then I came back out here the first weekend in December and was met and driven to the house and given the keys. And here I am.
And are you living there full time? How are you splitting your time between there and Northern Ireland?
My plan is eventually to, yes. But no, unfortunately, I still have to work. And
that always gets in the way,
absolutely.
doesn't it?
So, but being a teacher, I can get here very easily for weekends. I can spend all school holidays here. I'm here for the summer now. I obviously have to go back to work, but it's just ideal for me.
And once you'd completed, was there anything that popped into your mind that you hadn't yet thought of, or any kind of, I don't know, you have a house now. What about furnishing it, that kind of thing? What did you do?
The house actually come furnished, but obviously it needed the personal touch. Then I basically asked David, what do I do? Where do I go? So I was given instructions. I was shown the ropes, shown what to do, where to go to buy X, Y, and Z. And as a result, the list was completed very, very easily over a weekend.
It's great that you weren't left by yourself then, even after completion, that you've still got people that you can turn to for advice.
Yes, and very much so now. There are people who I met that first weekend who, along the way, who I'm still in contact with now. So people who can help me out with any repairs that need done in the house. Where do I get if something goes wrong? What do I do? And I can always call on people as a result of the contacts that were made over that first weekend where it was the handover of the keys.
And what about your neighbours and the people who kind of live around you? You haven't told me about the town yet, or kind of the region, I suppose, in general.
It's Murcia region, it's Roda Golf Resort, and people around me are, at the moment, it's still very quiet. A lot of Spanish around. The area is absolutely beautiful, and to me, unspoilt, which is what I wanted, and still very much Spanish, and I hope it stays that way. I have found lots of really nice restaurants to go to, tapas bars, and have met up with friends who have property in the area as well. So, yeah.
And did you already know people? Are they new friends or friends that you had before you bought?
I have not met new people within this area. There are a lot of residents on this resort, Spanish residents.
Yeah.
But I have met up with people who I have known previously, one couple in particular, both teachers, one colleague of mine. So I knew about this area before I'd actually bought, and obviously have met up with them, which is great. And people who come out to this region regularly, I can do that when I want.
Yeah, no, perfect. Yeah. And if you had to pick a favourite thing about Spanish life, what would that be?
The tapas. It has to be the tapas.
The
tapas. Yeah, very nice tapas bars, very reasonably priced, and I would just say I've learned to be a bit more adventurous than I would have been before.
Well, you know what? It sounds like the whole thing. You're pretty adventurous. I got to say, this whole venture sounds like you're pretty adventurous. Yes. So I'm glad it's helping.
Yes. Well, a few more steps to go, but yes, I will be here, and I will be here permanently, hopefully.
Amazing. And if someone was thinking about doing the same thing, if they're just on the brink of making that choice, or it's been a thought that's flitted through their head, what would you give as advice? Is there one piece of advice?
My advice would be to make yourself feel more secure to start with by reading up, doing your homework, and reading reviews on companies, seeking advice online through various websites, and really doing your homework when it comes to the currency exchange, do your homework when it comes to reputable companies, and learning what all the legalities mean. What is a notary? What do I need to do? How do I get a Spanish bank account? And what do you actually read online? It was actually much easier when I actually did it in person. So
interesting. So online people were, well, I suppose you always hear the horror stories, really.
Yes. And I think it isn't always going to be a horror story. It's just literally reading the reviews, do your homework, and hopefully it will turn out okay. I'm sure everyone out there isn't trustworthy, but my experience was very positive indeed.
Fantastic. And it's school holidays very soon, so how long are you going to be spending?
Well, I actually finished in Northern Ireland. We finished the end of June. So I finished on the 29th of June, and I'm here until towards the end of August. Yeah.
Fantastic. What's the weather like right now? Go on, make me
absolutely
jealous.
gorgeous. It's, I think, 34 degrees today, 35 degrees. Slight breeze,
Oh, wow.
absolutely gorgeous. And yep, I'm just about to have my glass of wine and barbecue.
Incredible. Well, listen, enjoy
I
it.
will.
Thank you so
You're
much for
very
taking
welcome.
the time to chat
You're very
to me.
welcome.
And it's great advice given. Thanks,
Okay.
Carole, so
Okay.
much.
Bye. Bye, Beth.
Thank you for listening, and thanks to Carole for sharing her experiences, and GR Sunshine Properties for their help to make this episode possible. I particularly liked hearing the perspective of someone buying on their own and how balls of steel can make all the difference. If you like what you've heard, you can search this agent's properties and more on Kyero.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. This podcast is produced by Kyero.com. Our mission is to connect you with estate agents and properties throughout Spain. Whether your dream home is a rustic farmhouse surrounded by olive groves or a lock-up and leave apartment on the seafront, you'll find everything you need at Kyero.com. If you've enjoyed this episode, we'd really appreciate your 5-star rating on iTunes. It helps us reach and connect more people with their dream home in Spain. And whenever you're ready, here are 4 ways we can help you. Ask a question by emailing Beth@Kyero.com. We'll try and answer them all in an upcoming Q&A episode. Get a location guide by emailing Beth@Kyero.com. We'll reply with the latest data and information on the areas you're interested in. Calculate your budget. Simply visit Kyero.com/budget, enter 2 numbers, and you're done. Be our guest. If you've already purchased your home in Spain, we would love for you to share your story on the podcast. Just email Beth@Kyero.com and we'll take it from there. Tune in next time when I speak with Julie, originally from Gateshead. She purchased her new home in La Dulces, Alicante. And as a big believer in fate, she discovered her property simply by befriending some strangers in the neighbourhood. Just wait until you hear about how with some properties, it really is meant to be. I'm Beth Davison, and you've been listening to the Kyero.com Spanish Property Podcast. I'll see you next week.